My beloved brothers and sisters, as the blessed month comes to an end, many of us feel a mixture of emotions. There is happiness because we witnessed Ramadan, we fasted, we prayed, we cried, and we turned back to Allah. But at the same time, there is a quiet fear within the heart. What happens now? Because the reality is simple. Ramadan was never meant to be the finish line. It was the beginning. It was a training ground designed to bring you closer to Allah, to soften your heart, to discipline your soul, and to remind you of who you truly are. Ask yourself honestly, who were you before Ramadan? And who did you become during Ramadan? You woke up for Fajr. You guarded your tongue. You recited the Quran. You made dua with sincerity. You avoided sins you once struggled with. You felt peace you hadn't felt in a long time. Now here comes the test. Will you hold on to that version of yourself, or will you let it slip away the moment Eid arrives? Understand this clearly. The one you worship in Ramadan is the same Allah you worship after Ramadan. He did not disappear when the moon of Eid was sighted. He remains the most merciful, the most watchful, the one who sees you, hears you, and loves when you turn back to Him. So why should your Abadatin stop? My brothers and sisters, Shaytan was chained during Ramadan, but now he is released. And he comes with one mission, to make you lose everything you built. Not overnight, but slowly. A missed prayer here. A careless word there. A return to old habits, step by step, until the heart hardens again. Do not let that happen to you. Eid is not a celebration of disobedience. It is a celebration of disobedience. It is a celebration of discipline. It is a reward for those who struggled, who sacrificed, who controlled their desires for the sake of Allah. So celebrate, yes. Smile, yes. Spend time with family, yes. But do not celebrate by disobeying the one who gave you the strength to reach Eid in the first place. Hold on to your salati. Even if it's just the 5 daily prayers, hold on to them firmly. Hold on to your Quran. Even if it's just a few verses a day, don't let it go. Hold on to your dua. Even if it's just a minute of sincerity, keep that connection alive. Because Allah does not look for perfection. He looks for consistency. The Prophet ﷺ taught us that the most beloved deeds to Allah are those that are small but consistent. So don't overwhelm yourself thinking you have to do everything you did in Ramadan. Just don't abandon everything. Even if you continue 10% of what you did, that 10% could be the reason for your success in this life and the next. My dear brothers and sisters, imagine meeting Allah one day and being told you knew how to come close to me, but you chose to walk away. Don't let that be your story. Let Ramadan be the turning point of your life, not just a temporary phase. And as you step into Eid, step into it with gratitude, with humility, and with a firm intention. Ya Allah, I may not be perfect, but I will not turn away. Because the greatest success is not that you were good in Ramadan. The greatest success is that you remain good after Ramadan. May Allah accept from us, forgive us, and keep our hearts firm upon His path. Ameen. My dear brothers and sisters, we often treat Ramadan as though it were a special guest that comes, blesses us, and then leaves. And with it, our Abadatit quietly fade away. But this understanding is incomplete. Ramadan was never meant to be a one-time spiritual experience. It was a training ground, a school for the qalb, a place where your soul was nurtured, disciplined, and reconnected with Allah. Think about what happens in any training program. Whether it is physical, mental, or spiritual, the purpose is not the training itself. It is what you become after the training. Ramadan was designed to transform you. It was meant to teach you how to control your desires, how to resist temptation, how to remain patient, and how to prioritize your relationship with Allah above everything else. During Ramadan, you proved something very powerful to yourself. You proved that you can wake up for Fajr even when it is difficult. You proved that you can stay away from food and drink for long hours purely for the sake of Allah. You proved that you can control your anger, lower your gaze, guard your tongue, and walk away from sins you once thought were impossible to leave. So ask yourself honestly, if you were able to do all of that for 30 days, what is stopping you now? The problem is not inability. The problem is mindset. We fall into the trap of thinking that Ramadan is the time to be religious, and outside of Ramadan, we go back to being normal. But the truth is, Ramadan came to redefine what your normal should be. It came to raise your standard, to show you a better version of yourself, a version that is closer to Allah, more conscious of Him, and more aware of your purpose in this life. If someone goes to a training camp and becomes stronger, more disciplined and more focused, but then returns home and abandons everything they learned, what was the point of the training? It would be a wasted opportunity. And in the same way, if we leave Ramadan only to return to old habits, old sins and old negligence, then we have misunderstood the entire purpose of this blessed month. My brothers and sisters, Ramadan was not about temporary change. It was about permanent direction. Yes, you may not be able to maintain the same level of abadat, that is natural. The long nights of Taraweeh, the constant recitation, the heightened energy, these may decrease. But the foundation you built should remain. This aslati you established should not collapse. The connection with the Qur'an should not disappear. The awareness of Allah should not fade away. Even if you take small steps, those steps matter. Because consistency is what builds a lasting relationship with Allah. Remember, the goal was never to become perfect in Ramadan. The goal was to become better and to continue that journey even after Ramadan ends. So don't let Ramadan become just a memory. Let it become a turning point. Let it shape your habits, your mindset, your choices, and your priorities. Let it be the beginning of a new chapter in your life. A chapter where your relationship with Allah is not seasonal, but constant. Because the one who trained you in Ramadan is still there, still watching, still listening, still ready to accept you. All you have to do is continue. My dear brothers and sisters, one of the greatest lessons we were taught is that consistency matters more than intensity. Many of us entered Ramadan with a surge of energy. We pushed ourselves to the limit. Long prayers, lengthy recitation, constant remembrance. It was beautiful, it was powerful, and it was transformative. But the question is not what you did for a few days or even a few weeks. The real question is, what will remain after it ends? Because the reality of human nature is this: we cannot always sustain high intensity. We get tired. Our schedules change. Life becomes busy again. Responsibilities return in full force. And slowly that peak level of abadat begins to decline. This is natural, and it is part of how Allah created us. But here is where many people go wrong. When they feel they cannot maintain the same level, they give up entirely. They move from doing a lot to doing nothing. And that is exactly what Shaytan wants. Understand this clearly. Allah does not expect you to be at your peak every single day. What He loves is that you remain connected, even if it is through small, consistent actions. The Prophet ﷺ taught us something incredibly powerful, that the most beloved deeds to Allah are those that are done regularly, even if they are small. This is not just a statement, it is a principle for life. It teaches us that what builds your relationship with Allah is not occasional bursts of effort, but steady, ongoing commitment. Think about it this way: if someone gives a large amount of charity once a year, but forgets about the poor the rest of the time, it has value. But the one who gives a little regularly with sincerity, that consistency builds a deeper connection, a stronger habit, and a more sincere qalb. The same applies to your prayers, your Quran, your dua, and your daily actions. It is better for you to pray your 5 daily prayers on time every single day than to pray extra units one night and then neglect. At your obligations the next. It is better to read a few verses of the Quran daily than to complete large portions once and then abandon it completely. It is better to remember Allah for a few minutes consistently than to have moments of intense remembrance followed by long periods of heedlessness. Consistency protects you. It keeps your heart alive. It keeps your connection with Allah steady. My brothers and sisters, do not underestimate small deeds. A sincere astaghfirullah said daily can change your life. A few moments of dua can open doors you never imagined. A small act of kindness can weigh heavily on your scale on the day of judgment. And when you are consistent, something beautiful happens. Those small actions begin to grow. What starts as a few minutes of Quran becomes a habit you look forward to. What starts as a simple effort to pray on time becomes a source of peace in your day. What starts as a small khatutur toward Allah becomes a journey that transforms your entire life. But if you rely only on intensity, you will burn out. You will feel overwhelmed. And eventually you may stop altogether. So be wise in how you approach your abadat. Do not try to replicate every single thing you did in Ramadan. Instead, choose what you can realistically maintain and hold on to it firmly. Maybe it is your 5 daily prayers on time without compromise. Maybe it is 1 page of Quran a day. Maybe it is making dua every night before you sleep. Start small, but stay consistent. Because in the sight of Allah, what matters is not how much you do in a short period of time, What matters is that you never stop. My dear brothers and sisters, one of the most important truths we must understand as we leave Ramadan is this. Do not let Shaytan steal your progress on Eid. This is a moment that many of us underestimate. We spend 30 days fasting, praying, making dua and shait and paying dawa and scent, riving to purify our hearts, only to allow the enemy of our soul to quietly undo all that effort in a few hours or days. We must be alert and vigilant because Shaitan is clever, patient and persistent. During Ramadan, Shaitan was chained. He was restrained from many of the ways he normally whispers into our hearts. This was a mercy from Allah, giving us a period where we could strengthen our connection with Him without as much interference. But as Ramadan ends and Eid arrives, Shaitan is free again. He knows that many hearts are vulnerable at this point, hearts that have experienced spiritual revelation and now face the temptation to return to old habits. He does not attack loudly. He attacks subtly, slowly, and cunningly. He whispers to us, it's Eid, you have earned it, you can indulge, you can let go of your discipline just for today. And we often listen without realizing the danger. We begin to justify what we know is wrong. We allow our guard to drop, thinking that what we gained in Ramadan is secure and permanent. But let me remind you, no deed in Islam is permanent unless it is nurtured and maintained. Just as a seed needs water, sunlight, and care to grow, your spiritual progress needs continued effort and protection. The time immediately after Ramadan is critical. Shaitan knows this is the moment to attack. He encourages excess, heedlessness, and indulgence. He tempts us to return to sins we had abandoned, to speak harshly, to neglect our prayers, and to forget the remembrance of Allah that had filled our hearts. If we are not vigilant, the progress of 30 blessed days can be erased in just a few moments of carelessness. But we are not powerless. Allah has given us tools to protect ourselves. The remembrance of Allah is a shield. Prayer is a fortress. Seeking forgiveness is armor. Every small act of obedience, even after Ramadan, strengthens your protection. When you consciously resist the whispers of Shaitan, you are demonstrating the strength of your faith and your commitment to Allah. It is also important to remember that this battle is ongoing. Ramadan gave us strength, but it also trained us for life after Ramadan. The victory is not measured by how intensely you fasted or prayed in the month alone. The real victory is in maintaining that connection, that mindfulness and that discipline even after the month has ended. If you are alert, if you are aware, and if you consciously resist the temptation to return to negligence, then Shaitan cannot steal what is rightfully yours. Do not deceive yourself into thinking that one day of indulgence or one careless act will not matter. Every slip, no matter how small, is an opportunity for Shaitan to gain a foothold. Guard your heart, guard your heart, guard your... Our tongue, guard your actions. Celebrate Eid with joy, yes, but do not allow that joy to become an excuse for disobedience. Let your Eid be a celebration of your discipline, of your obedience, and of your success in maintaining your relationship with Allah. My dear brothers and sisters, the lesson is clear. Ramadan was a victory, but the war is ongoing. Stay vigilant, stay connected, protect your heart from Shaitan's whispers. The one who can maintain what he built in Ramadan is the one who continue to grow, continue to succeed, and continue to earn the pleasure of Allah long after the month has passed. Eid is not the end. It is a continuation. Protect your progress, for the one who protects his deeds from Shaitan today will find them shining brightly on the day when deeds are weighed. My dear brothers and sisters, one of the most important lessons to carry from Ramadan into Eid and beyond is this. Small deeds after Ramadan carry immense weight. Many people think that only grand actions, long prayers or long nights of worship matter. But Islam teaches us something far more profound, that even the smallest act done sincerely can have extraordinary value in the eyes of Allah. What you do after Ramadan, even if it is small, will determine whether the spiritual progress you achieved will continue to grow or gradually fade away. During Ramadan, our hearts were alive. We felt the closeness to Allah that we may not have felt in months or even years. We experienced the sweetness of fasting, the peace of prayer, and the blessing of charity. But the truth is, the month itself cannot stay with us. The responsibility now rests with us to carry that spirit forward. And this is where small deeds play their role. You may not be able to maintain the long Taraweeh prayers, the constant recitation of the Qur'an, or the extra fast you observed in Ramadan, that is natural and deities expected. But what you can do is simple, consistent acts that may seem minor, but which, when done sincerely, can keep your heart alive and your connection with Allah strong. A few verses of Quran each day, a single dawah with sincerity, a short remembrance of Allah, or a small act of kindness towards someone else. These all carry weight. Consider the Prophet, bro, that's a bit low. Consider the Prophet ﷺ's teaching, the most beloved deeds to Allah are those that are small and consistent. This is not just a saying, it is a guiding principle for life. It reminds us that the size of the deed is not as important as the heart behind it and the consistency with which we perform it. A small deed done with sincerity has the power to transform your heart, your character, and your relationship with Allah over time. Even acts as simple as giving a smile, helping someone in need, forgiving a small offense, or offering a quiet prayer can accumulate tremendous rewards. These deeds, repeated day after day, form a chain of continuous good that protects you from slipping back into old habits. They are like drops of water filling a container. One by one, they may seem insignificant, but together they become something substantial and sustaining. Small deeds also remind us that our faith is not seasonal. Islam is not only for Ramadan, it is for every day, every moment, and every decision we make. By maintaining small acts of worship after Ramadan, we demonstrate that our connection with Allah is not dependent on a month of fasting alone, but on a lifetime of mindfulness, humility, and sincerity. Moreover, these small deeds build resilience in the heart. They strengthen your awareness of Allah, reinforce good habits, and gradually make you less susceptible to temptation. They act as a bridge between the intense devotion of Ramadan and the everyday life that follows. Without this bridge, the momentum you gained can quickly be lost, but with it, you ensure that your heart remains vibrant, your soul remains nourished, and your deeds continue to earn reward. So do not underestimate small actions. Do not wait for a moment of grandeur to serve Allah. Your daily consistency in small deeds is far more powerful than occasional bursts of worship. Hold on to them, protect them, and let them grow. These small acts are the continuation of Ramadan in your life, the proof that the lessons you learned were not temporary, and the reason your soul remains connected to Allah long after the month has passed. The message is clear. Every act, no matter how small, done with sincerity, carries weight. Use them wisely, repeat them consistently, and let them be the foundation on which you build your life of faith after Ramadan. My dear brothers and sisters, one of the most important lessons we must understand as we leave Ramadan is this: your relationship with Allah is not seasonal. It does not begin with Ramadan, nor does it end with the sighting of the Shawwal moon. Allah is the same yesterday, today, and tomorrow. He does not change, and His mercy does not disappear when the month of fasting ends. Yet, so often, we treat our faith as if it is something temporary, something we only activate during Ramadan, and then set aside the rest of the year. This mindset is dangerous, for it disconnects us from the very purpose of our existence. Ramadan gave us a taste of closeness to Allah. We woke up early for fire. We stood in long prayers at night. We recited the Quran, and we controlled our tongues and desires. For 30 days, we lived consciously aware of Allah's presence in every action. We felt our hearts soften, our souls purified, and our minds peaceful. This experience is meant to be a reminder, not a short-lived memory. The danger begins when we see Eid as a green light to return to old habits. Suddenly, the self-discipline, the mindfulness, and the spiritual awareness that define Ramadan are abandoned. We stop praying on time, we neglect the Quran, we forget the dua that we once recited with sincerity, and our hearts slowly harden. We act as though our relationship with Allah exists only in Ramadan, and the rest of the year is a free zone for negligence. This is a misconception that has trapped many people for years, and it is one of Shaytan's favorite tricks. Understand this: Allah is not seasonal. His guidance, His mercy, His watchfulness, all of it remains constant, and your relationship with Him should mirror that constancy. Faith is a journey, not a temporary phase. Just as you do not eat only when Ramadan arrives or sleep only during Eid, your heart should not only turn to Allah during a single month. Every day, every moment, every decision is an opportunity to strengthen that connection. Maintaining your relationship with Allah after Ramadan requires conscious effort. It does not mean you must replicate every deed of Ramadan exactly as you did it. That is unrealistic. But it does mean holding on to the habits, however small, that will keep your heart connected. Praying 5 times a day on time, even if with less concentration than during Ramadan. Reading a few verses of the Quran daily. Making sincere dua, practicing patience and kindness. These are the bridges that connect the Ramadan of your past to the rest of your life. Consistency matters more than intensity. A heart that remembers Allah even in small ways consistently will grow stronger than one that bursts with effort briefly and then abandons it. The Prophet ﷺ taught us that the believer who is moderate in good deeds is beloved to Allah, and this moderation ensures sustainability. Your relationship with Allah is not a sprint, it is a lifelong journey. Remember, Allah does not tire. Of your turning to Him, no matter how small or imperfect, your actions may feel sincerity and continuity matter. Your relationship with Allah is a garden that must be nurtured every day. If you water it consistently, even with small amounts, it will flourish. Neglect it, and even the strongest habits built in Ramadan will wither. So let Eid not be the end of your journey, but the continuation. But the continuation, let it remind you that Allah is always present, always merciful, always watching, and always inviting you closer. Let it strengthen your commitment to live consciously, not just for a month, but for a lifetime. Your connection with Allah is eternal. Your devotion should be too. The lesson is clear. Do not make your faith seasonal. Ramadan was a beginning, not a finale. Carry its lessons forward. Nurture your relationship with Allah daily, and let every day be an opportunity to grow closer to Him. The one who understands this will never feel lost after Ramadan, for they know that Allah's presence and mercy are constants, not a limited time experience. My dear brothers and sisters, as we approach Eid, it is important to remember that this blessed day is not just about celebration, feasting, or wearing new clothes. Eid is a celebration of discipline, of self-control, and of spiritual achievement. It is a reward for those who struggled, who remain patient, and who work to draw closer to Allah throughout the month of Ramadan. Yet, too often we misunderstand the meaning of Eid. We treat it as a signal to abandon the habits, worship, and self-restraint we cultivated for 30 days. But in truth, Eid is meant to reinforce the very lessons that Ramadan taught us. Think about it carefully. Ramadan was not merely about fasting from food and drink. It was a test of patience, restraint, and devotion. Every fast we observed was an act of obedience. Every prayer an opportunity to strengthen our connection with Allah. Every act of charity a demonstration of care for others. In essence, Ramadan was about disciplining the soul and the heart. When Eid arrives, it is a moment to celebrate that victory, not to discard it. The Prophet ﷺ taught us that moderation and consistency in worship are beloved to Allah. This principle is reflected in the celebration of Eid. Eid is a reward for maintaining discipline, not a license to abandon it. It is an acknowledgement of the struggle you endured, the self-restraint you practiced, and the connection you built with Allah. Celebrating Eid by returning to old habits or neglecting worship diminishes the very purpose of the month. Instead, true celebration is expressed through gratitude, reflection, and continued devotion. Eid also reminds us of the importance of intention. Your worship in Ramadan was not simply physical actions. It was done with the purpose of pleasing Allah. The same applies after Ramadan. Your actions on Eid, whether giving charity, performing Eid prayer, or showing kindness to family and neighbors, should reflect the same intention. The joy of Eid should not lead you to neglect what you have achieved. Instead, let it motivate you to maintain and even increase your devotion. Another key lesson of Eid is that discipline creates freedom. It may seem paradoxical, but those who master self-control experience true joy. They do not need to indulge recklessly because they have learned the satisfaction of pleasing Allah, controlling desires, and prioritizing what is right. Eid is a moment to reflect on this freedom. You are free from sin because you have trained your soul to resist temptation. You are free from sin. You are free from regret because you have invested in deeds that please Allah. Your joy on Eid is amplified when it is rooted in discipline, not neglect. Moreover, Eid is a social and spiritual reminder. As a time to share joy, gratitude, and blessings with others. But sharing these blessings should not contradict the discipline you cultivated. Helping those in need, maintaining family ties, and spreading kindness are ways to extend the discipline of Ramadan into your everyday life. These small acts are a continuation of what you practice, demonstrating that Eid is not a temporary break from worship, but a platform to reinforce your faith in action. Finally, remember that the essence of Eid is not temporary indulgence, but lasting transformation. The habits you built, the prayers you observed, and the patience you practiced are meant to carry forward. Eid is a checkpoint, a celebration of achievement, and a reminder that discipline is a lifelong journey. By maintaining even small practices after Ramadan, you honor the true meaning of this day. Let Eid be a celebration of the strength, patience, and faith you cultivated. Wear it as a badge of your spiritual victory. Let it inspire you to continue your journey, maintaining the habits that will keep you close to Allah. This is the true purpose of Eid, a celebration of discipline, devotion, and the success of the heart that obeys Allah even after the month has ended. My dear brothers and sisters, as we come to the close of this reminder, let us reflect on the journey we have taken through Ramadan and the lessons we carry into Eid and beyond. Ramadan was a gift, a training ground for our hearts and souls, a time when we learned discipline, patience, and devotion. But the month itself is not the finish line. It is the beginning of a lifelong journey toward Allah. The true success of Ramadan is not measured by how intensely we worshipped for 30 days, but by how we maintained that connection afterward. Small, consistent deeds matter more than occasional bursts of effort. Our relationship with Allah is not seasonal, it does not begin and end with the sighting of the moon. Every prayer, every act of remembrance, every moment of sincerity builds a bridge from the spiritual heights of Ramadan into the rest of our lives. We must be vigilant, for Shaytan will seek to steal the progress we worked so hard to achieve. But by guarding our hearts, continuing our acts of worship, and maintaining even small, consistent habits, we protect ourselves and keep our souls alive. Eid then is not merely a celebration of joy and feasting, it is a celebration of discipline, of patience, and of success in drawing closer to Allah. It reminds us that what we achieved is not temporary, but a foundation upon which to build a life of obedience, gratitude, and mindfulness. So, my beloved brothers and sisters, let us leave Ramadan with hearts committed to Allah, minds focused on good, and actions rooted in consistency. Let Eid inspire us to hold fast to the lessons we have learned, to cherish the progress we have made, and to continue striving even when the path seems difficult. For the greatest success is not simply being good in Ramadan, but remaining good after Ramadan, nurturing our connection with Allah every single day. May Allah accept our fasting, prayers and deeds, protect our hearts from negligence, and guide us to remain steadfast on His path long after Ramadan has ended. Ameen.